people saw this as a personal choice they could make. They could actually make a difference. So there's always been this thought, was changing my light bulbs, driving a Prius, does that really help? And you can be pretty cynical and say that it doesn't. But a lot of people said, yeah, I can make a difference. I can make a difference by starting to do those things and by influencing other people to do those things. That is why I choose to be green, because I believe individually as a person, I can make a difference. And it wasn't an insubstantial number. I think it was something around 36% that said, that's why I'm doing it. Similarly, although expressed slightly differently, people saw this as a social moral responsibility. It was around 33%, if I remember. They just saw this as something they had to do. Not necessarily for kids, they didn't express it that way, or for the planet, but socially, this was the right thing to do. I mean, whatever you define as the right thing to do, you don't throw paper out the window anymore from your car, people don't litter, whatever is a socially acceptable behavior, doing this is now, for those people, a socially acceptable behavior. People were quite honest, the last two. Some smaller percentage of people said, well, I do this because it feels good to do it. I get an emotional reward. There was a study done recently, and people were asked to, they were given money to donate, a small amount, $1 bills to just hand out. And there were some brain chemistry studies done, and basically the same brain chemistry triggers when you're about to do an act of good as when you're about to have sex. So it's a very positive feeling when you're about to do good, and a lot of people just enjoy that emotional reward. The last thing people are doing is they think they have to, out of guilt. So we have this little map we talk about, which shows pretty much the same issue, but it shows that people address this issue from all different angles. In general, they're all positive about it, but they really see it in many, many different ways. I'm not going to go into too much depth because I have a limited amount of time. There's some other things I want to cover. But the one other point I wanted to make from the previous slide was, when we ask people about what's green mean to them and present these projects, almost nobody either put on their project or said recycling. And that sort of caught us by surprise for a second, and then we realized, well, probably as it is for this group of people in the room, for people who are already thinking about going green, that's hygiene. You wash your hands, you shower in the morning, you recycle. So if you ask people, is recycling important? It's almost, it's not even in their head to think about that's a green activity, because they've made that jump already. And you're going to find there's a lot of consumers who, in our study, almost all consumers sort of left it off the chart. They didn't even mention it. It was so obvious to them.